You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design Feng Shui School. Episode 186, Feng Shui Tips for moving into a new home. Welcome to episode 186 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Angie Cho and Laura Morris are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School. We teach Feng Shui online at mindfuldesignschool.com. Be sure to check us out. You can sign up for our mailing list. There's a link in the show notes. And also, if you visit mindfuldesignschool.com and scroll to the bottom, you can sign up for our mailing list. We have so many special offers, workshops, and events only for our newsletter subscribers. And also, we have content on the weekly newsletter that we don't share anywhere else. So we really hope you'll sign up for our mailing list and join our little community. And also, before we get started on our episode today about Feng Shui tips for moving into a new home, Laura, do you want to give a little info about our certification?
Yeah, it's starting in September. And if you are interested in learning more, we're doing a couple of info sessions so that you can talk to us live and learn about the program. It's a 100-hour, over 6 month, 100-hour program live. It's taught live online. And yeah, it's great. And we only take 18 students. And so we do that intentionally so that we can really get to know all of our students. And we hope to see some of our listeners there, which we have. Lots of our listeners have joined the program, actually.
Yes. Yeah, one of the feedback we get from some of our teaching assistants is that a lot of the students now are like long time listeners, and some of our students have told us they've listened to so many episodes, so X amount of times, and they have learned so much. But of course, taking the certification, you learn so much more. You know, the some Feng Shui isn't about learning from a book. It's really about learning from experience. You can only get so far. So we really work with our students closely and transmit things to them individually, and really challenge them to become very skilled and experienced practitioners. So anyway, we hope you'll join us at some point if you're interested in diving deeper with Feng Shui. So today I thought Laura and I could chat about Feng Shui tips for moving into a new home. I get asked about this quite a lot. Do you hear this question a lot, Laura?
What I get is I get clients that will book me because they are moving into a new home and they want to set it up with a detailed consultation, where to put everything, how to lay everything out. And so that's what I get, rather than, the quick tips that we're going to give today, which are universal. Because, when you're moving into a new home, and you want that kind of stuff, like, where should I put this? What should I do there? What color that's really, it's super personal, right? And it's where you got to know the client, you get to know them, and you come up with a plan for them. But we thought, what we would do today are like universal tips, things that are like about how do you kind of step into your home on the right foot.
Yeah, but I do get this question a lot, and I just got it for like, not, you're exactly right. It's different when it's a one-on-one consultation, and you would give totally different feedback on that. But when I get interviewed, I just got interviewed for a podcast, they ask that, or if it's like in a classroom setting, like a public classroom setting, some people ask that. So it's kind of something that is on your mind, because I think also people move a lot. For instance, in our certification program, there's always at least one person that's moving.
It's true.
In the program.
Actually, yeah, it's pretty common. And I think it's about transition. And a lot of times when people come to our program, they're moving through a lot of things in their life, and it's a really, exciting time. Yeah, I think people want to, when they move into a new place, there's a sense of starting fresh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's definitely a good time to work with a Feng Shui consultant that can go in depth with you. But it's also okay to get a Feng Shui consultation, if you're not just moving into a place. And it's probably the least ideal to get a Feng Shui consultation if you're planning on moving out next week. But
Yeah.
But we've experienced this with students, so it's a good example of how to work with someone, and how you can work with what's going on in their lives. So, anyways, what should you do if you're moving into a new home? What are some general feng shui tips? So, Laura, you want to start?
hmm Yeah. So when you're moving into a new house, you are moving into a place where someone else has lived there, unless it's a new build. But even if it's a new build, you have construction and developer and workers and everything, and there's lots of chi that is built up, that's there residual. If it's a home or an apartment that you're moving into, or condo or house or whatever, and someone else, another family was in there, and sometimes they could have been in there for years or decades. We call it predecessor chi. So that is the energy of those that came before you, that were living there before. And it chi is, the life force that flows through all of us, through our spaces. And we have personal chi, and we conduct ourselves and walk through the world in certain ways. And so there are people that were there before you, and you don't really know what their story was. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what they went through. You don't know, sometimes you don't even know what happened in the home. And so you want to, again, this whole idea of starting fresh and coming, basically creating a clean slate, is, we would say, number one is remove the predecessor chi. And you can do it lots of ways. You can do space clearing. Angie and I have talked a lot about space clearing, and I would suggest that you listen to our episode or our podcast about space clearing, which we have. And I actually think if you're searching through, you can look through it through, obviously, what's on whatever platform you're listening to it. And it's also on our website. I think it's one of the ones that I selected because it was one of our more popular ones. So if you go to our podcast page, it's there as well. But there's lots of different ways you can clear a space. And I would say I think one of the strongest ones that I do is, I do a combination. If I'm moving into a new place, or we're moving into, is one, I use bells. I use sound to clear, and I'll also employ some other transcendental parts of that practice that we teach in the program. But generally, I'll use sound and bells to reverberate and clear, and that's to clear the chi. But then I also wash the floors with a combination of, it could be juniper or pine or orange, something that's very cleansing, and to wash away. So it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. You'll do the energetic sound, and then I'll also do the cleansing in the floors.
I love that. It's really working with both heaven and earth, right? So you're working with the ethereal or the invisible, doing the clearing the chi and the air and the energetics of the space, and
Mhm.
then actually doing something mundane like washing the floor, but with an intention. And in feng shui, the floor actually represents earth element. So, you know, cleaning with intention and with botanicals, meaningful botanicals, the floor you actually step on, that supports you, that will hold you up in this home. That's wonderful. And I would add one more thing to removing any energy from previous owners, is to add red to your front door. So red is, in general, one of the most auspicious colors in feng shui. It's the color of vitality and fire, and it's a color of our blood, right? And it's so striking, and it's a very strong color that you can use in small amounts. So I'm not saying you have to paint your front door red, but you could add a bouquet, or not a bouquet, add some red flowers or some kind of red wreath, or paint your door number red, or get a red doormat. So adding a little bit of vitality to the front door, which is the mouth of chi, that will really help to awaken the space, because
Mhm.
especially if it has been vacant for some time.
Mhm. Yeah, and red is protective too, so it's a nice way just to add that little protection. And when you add it to your front door, it's almost like you're calling out into the world and saying, "You know what? I'm here now, everybody," and opening your home up. that way as well. Um, Angie, do you have another one? Do you want to do point
Mm-hmm.
two?
Yeah, so the second way to welcome yourself into a new home is to literally welcome your home. Welcome and introduce yourself to your home, and with gratitude, walk through your new place. So take some time. It's just like when you meet a new friend, you don't just kind of jump in and assume that they're just going to accommodate you. Greet your home, talk to your home, get to know it, and just say, like, hey, I'm so grateful for you. In Feng Shui, we believe that everything is alive, and so your home is alive, and you can thank your new home and introduce yourself, introduce your family, maybe voice some aspirations and intentions like, thank you so much. You are my new home. I look forward to getting to know you. And my name is Angie, and here's my two dogs, Javier and Pearl, and my husband. Just take the time to introduce yourself and offer gratitude, because your home will treat you how you treat it.
Yes. Okay, number three, the one that I would also say is a great idea to do is to call opening the stove. Essentially, you're blessing the stove. The stove of your the is represents the wealth of your home and your resources and your finances, because it's where you bring all your food, you cook your meals. It's a really important place in feng shui. And if you can spend a little time when you first move in of cleaning the stove, which you're probably going to do anyway, but this time when you do it with intention to open up your home and this area of your home for more abundance and prosperity. And you can use a non-toxic cleaner. You can even use oranges if you wanted to make an orange peel and vinegar mix, have it soak for a little while. You can have that. That's a really great way, because again, oranges have this yang energy. And while you're doing it, just really doing it with intention, cleaning off, degreasing it, cleaning it off. And then once you've done cleaning it, turn each of the burners on, let them get really hot. So you fire it up and then turn them all off. Okay. And that's a way to sort of do the mundane of cleaning the stove, to remove predecessor chi from the stove, and to open it to your wealth and your abundance and all the things that you want in life.
Super. So, the fourth tip for moving into a new home is to focus on yourself a little bit. So, we're going to move into the bedroom. And in Feng Shui, your bedroom represents you because you spend so much time there. And it's the space where you rest, where you sleep, where you recharge. And it's your private space. So, the most private space within your private space, like your most private space in your bedroom, is your bed. So, this is a great opportunity to treat yourself to a brand new set of linens and sheets for a new, fresh start. And you spend so much time in bed, and to be surrounded by something that is new and fresh and has new energy is really helpful to support this fresh start in this transition to a new home. And we would recommend you purchase the best that you can with what you have. So, if possible, ethically made organic materials as much as you can. It's always about doing the best you can with what you have. We get a lot of questions about, like, oh, what, does feng shui have to cost a lot? No, you do the best you can with what you have, and most of the time you don't have to buy anything. So you want to do things, you want to put your money towards put your dollars towards something that you believe in, and again, you want the highest quality around you while you're sleeping. So buy a fresh new set of sheets, and then that doesn't mean you have to toss your old sheets. You can keep those, or you can also donate them. I love donating sheets to the local pet shelter, because they can really use them. Or you could, if they're in good condition, you can also donate them to Goodwill or another organization like that.
Okay. And one of tip number 5, one idea that is an adaptation of a traditional transcendental feng shui cure that we have is to intentionally bring in bouquets of fresh, preferably fragrant flowers into your home. And this with the idea of infusing your home with joy. So you can pick the schedule that you want to do it on, but we recommend that you should start turning out those bouquets as soon as one starts to wilt. You're going to pull out old flowers, and you can, place them throughout the home. Maybe do 3 bouquets total, do, one every 3 days. And so that's, you're kind of doing a 9 days of bringing in fresh flowers, and you can move them around the home. You can find that, maybe one in the kitchen, one in the center of the home, one in your bedroom, and, making sure that the flowers are staying fresh. So pulling out any ones that are, dying or wilting. And then once, obviously don't keep the flowers along after they've, sort of wilted. But again, the objective is to do this a really concentrated, intentional infusion of joy into your home using fragrant flowers.
I love that. And I also love the fact that flowers represent celebration. And we want all of you to celebrate moving into this new home, no matter how temporary it is. Maybe you're moving into this new home for just a year, but still make it your home. Allow yourself to be held and be grounded in this space. And it's so important. I mean, Laura and I, we teach Feng Shui. Our lives revolve around Feng Shui. And so we feel that out of any space, your home is that which is really important. So be grateful to your space. Just to go through the 5 tips again: remove any predecessor energy, any energy from previous owners. And 2, offer gratitude and introduce yourself to your new home. 3, open the stove, which represents your resources and your wealth and finances, and helps to give you a fresh start. 4, indulge in a new set of sheets for your bed, the highest quality you can afford, so that you can be surrounded while you're sleeping with fresh energy as well, fresh chi. And then last, bring some fresh flowers into your home to invite joy and to celebrate this moment in your life.
Good.
Yep. So happy moving to anybody who's moving, but also great to know if you know someone else that's moving, or even if you're going to stay at a place for a month or something, or a week, you could also do some of these things while you have a temporary home there. Like I do some of these things if I'm going to stay in a hotel room or an Airbnb for a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can tune in every Monday for a new episode. We'd love to see you on our mailing list. There's a link to sign up for our mailing list in the show notes, or you can visit mindfuldesignschool.com and scroll to the bottom. We have special workshops and classes and information and newsletters that have content that's only available for our newsletter subscribers. And if you didn't know, we actually teach a Feng Shui certification program. So we teach a small amount of students every year to become Feng Shui practitioners and really dive deep to understand this practice of Feng Shui. So we'd love to see you in our program at some point. You can check it out by going to mindfuldesignschool.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.